Am I the asshole for calling off my son's camping trip after he ruined a painting that I drew for my wife? Obligatory. On mobile and English is hard, so be patient. I am 39, married my wife F36 4 months ago. I have a son named Elijah, age 16. He and my wife have this tension between that started right after she moved in with us. He complains about how she enters his room all the time and invading his privacy and touching his stuff, but my wife says she's just cleaning it for him. He also complains from being forced to eat what she cooks, but my wife says she's just trying to get him to step away from unhealthy fast food and snacks and get used to healthy homemade meals. The fighting became constant even before the wedding. Then at the wedding he complained about being excluded from pictures and food he wanted to have, but my wife said she had nothing to do with it and that Elijah was looking for something to hold over her head. Now since we're in summer break and he has plenty of free time, I'd signed him up for a 2-week camping trip and paid for everything. He was supposed to go next week, but a couple of days ago something happened. It was my wife's birthday. As a gift I drew a painting for her and gave it to her during dinner. Elijah started laughing for no reason, which made my wife annoyed. She told him he wasn't allowed to watch a movie later that night and sent him to his room. He wasn't happy. He threw a temper tantrum and said he didn't do anything to deserve a punishment. Then in the morning my wife woke me up yelling, saying the painting I gave her was destroyed with car oil. She kept saying, Elijah did it. I had him come out of his room and he admitted that he ruined it to get back at her for punishing him the night before. I lost my temper with him, then punished him by canceling his trip and taking the money back. He threw another tantrum saying he had to do it after. She punished him for no reason, and that it wasn't fair since I promised, but I said it was final. He started crying and called his aunt as a way to pressure me into backing out of my decision, but I refused. You are the asshole. Your son is still a child and your wife is competing with him. First, she has no business parenting him. That's your job, not hers. Second, if he doesn't want her in his private space, that is right. She has no right to invade it for cleaning or whatever else. Third, are you seriously trying to convince us the bride had no say in wedding pictures? Fourth, you are a very bad parent for allowing all of this to happen without any reaction. Fifth, you guys need family therapy, and whenever your son accepts your wife or not, that is his business. If he doesn't want your wife going into his room and touching his things, why do you let her? Why didn't you make sure that your son was included in some pictures? Why didn't you intervene when he wasn't allowed to eat some of the food at the wedding? Why are you letting her parent your son when you know there's so much tension between them? Of course he shouldn't have ruined the painting. Of course he's an awe. But he's also a kid. You and your wife are, supposedly, the adults. It's unreasonable to expect a 16-year-old to de-escalate a situation that the two adults keep escalating. Everyone sucks here but you in particular. Normally I'd say not the asshole, but you are the asshole in this case. I'd honestly think she destroyed it herself and blamed it on him if he hadn't owned up to it. You've taken her side repeatedly instead of believing him when he says she's crossing lines. You've only been married 4 months and there are a lot of red flags from her. He's 16. He doesn't need a stranger coming in and pushing him around or out of your life, and that's what seems to be happening. Look at everything objectively and wake up. Your wife is being weirdly controlling and is punishing Elijah for nothing. All he did was laugh. You seem totally blind to the fact that your wife is making this situation about 150 times worse than it needs to be by imposing rules on a 16-year-old as if he's a 5-year-old. You are the asshole. Your wife is the biggest A. He's 16 and it's time for him to be allowed some autonomy, even if it is making bad choices. She's treating him like he's 6 years old. You're also an A for allowing her to do this to your son. If you treat your son like a 6-year-old, of course he's going to throw a temper tantrum like a 6-year-old. You haven't left him any other options. You are the asshole. Why do you marry someone that clashes with your son? I never understand these situations. Your son and you are a package deal and you should put your son first. He's 16. She has no right coming into his room for cleaning. He's old enough to take care of his own room with enough coaxing. The healthy eating should have been instilled on him long ago. And sending a 16-year-old to his room, come on. He should not have destroyed the painting, but still, you are ta. Am I the asshole for exceed not the asshole LLY telling my fiancé I hate his sister and she won't be a part of my wedding? This situation is literally ridiculous, but this whole thing has caused almost nuclear warfare across the family, so I'm here to get a consensus. Throw away for privacy, even though there's a good chance my fiancé will see it. I, 26F, have been with my fiancé Chris, 26M, for 4 years now. He and his sister, 21F, Lilac, are very close. They had a pretty traumatic childhood and always promised each other to be there no matter what. Lilac is a good sister to him, but as a person, truthfully, I can't stand her. She is literally the textbook definition of a bubbly blonde. She is overly charismatic, always giggling, and in general, just acts too immature for my taste. She likes to pull pranks every once in a while on my fiancé and he gets her back, but the whole ordeal just seems childish and obnoxious to me. Ever since we got engaged, I knew I didn't want her in my wedding party because that means I'd have to spend time with her at my bachelorette and other parties. Fast forward to last night and my fiancé asks me when I plan on asking Lilac to be a bridesmaid. I got quiet and truthfully said I didn't plan on doing so. This upset him because he said wants his sister to be a part of the most important day of his life and that if I didn't do it he was going to make her a groomswoman, to make sure she is included. I can't lie, this set me off. I went off about how I want to feel respected by him and be able to enjoy my wedding day. He said he also wants to enjoy his day, which to be fair, I understand. This is where I may be the asshole. I told him that I have always disliked his sister and wished he would just not include her for once on a day that isn't even about her. He got quiet and went into our guest room to be alone. A couple of minutes later I got a text from Lilac that she completely respects my decision to not want her in the wedding party, but she's hurt to know what I actually feel about her. I didn't want her to find out at all, and now he's told his whole family about our argument. Half of them are attacking me and half of them are saying it's my day so I should be able to enjoy it. Honestly, this whole ordeal is stressful for no reason because Lilac isn't even upset I don't want her in my wedding party, yet the whole family is upset and my fiancé has been very short with me all day. Am I the asshole? Edit. Just because I hate her personality doesn't mean I'm mean to her. Being around her drains my social battery, but I have never been mean to her, nor did I want her to find out ever, especially in this way. I am just super introverted and our personalities collide. I don't want her at my bachelorette party because I want to enjoy it fully and not feel anxious the whole time because the personification of a human firecracker is attending. Update. I am probably going to make this my only update for a while, if not ever. We talked this morning, sorry for not posting it earlier, my Wi-Fi company has been having some issues. We still are not resolved. He doesn't just want her as a groomswoman but wants to ask her to be the best woman, best man but as a woman. This is still not resolved because I am not comfortable with that, and it's more stressful because the whole family has turned into flying monkeys because his sister is the apple of their eye, so they took what I said as a serious attack against her. You are the asshole. I didn't want her in my wedding party because that means I'd have to spend time with her at my bachelorette and other parties. Boy, do I have some bad news about what's going to happen if you actually marry her brother and legally bind yourself to him and his family for the foreseeable future. And #X200B. To be clear, you're free to not want her in your wedding party, but if she's going to be your sill, you might have to get over your distaste of blondes who've, checklist, been bubbly and happy. Thanks for the awards. So, she's happy and enjoying life and this bothers you? Might want to do some inward reflections there, bud. You are the asshole. It's your fiancé's wedding too, it's not all about you. You are the asshole and sound jealous of their relationship. It's not just your wedding, it's his wedding too, and if you don't want her as a bridesmaid then fine, but it's unfair for you to dictate that he can't have her on his side and blow up at him for wanting to include her. Lots of selfishness on your end. That's not a great way to start a marriage. It's not even like she's major drama, you just find her too giggly and obnoxious. You are the asshole. You have every right to not ask her to be a bridesmaid. You don't have the right to tell your FH she can't be a groomswoman. That's just being petty. If their history is as traumatic as you say it is, have you stopped to consider her personality as a result of the trauma as a way of coping? I suggest you think long and hard if this is the hill you're going to die on, because honestly, you might not enjoy the outcome. You are the asshole. She's blonde and acts 21, which she is. And she's a good sister to him and he wants her there to help celebrate a happy day for him. That you don't even want him to include her is what makes you the asshole here. She hasn't done anything but be bubbly and loved by your fiancé. Is this wedding about him too, or is he just the groom doll for your big moment? So let's get this straight, then. You don't like her because she's blonde, young, and cheerful. You feel this dislike is strong enough, and justifiable enough, to push her out of having any significant part in the proceedings, knowing how close she is to your fiancé? It just reads as selfish and inconsiderate that you'd try and torch a relationship with a close member of your soon-to-be husband's family over essentially nothing does not bode well, to put it mildly. Get over whatever it is you have against blondes, 21-year-olds, and people who enjoy life. You are the asshole. Am I the asshole for not wanting my husband's other child in my house? My husband cheated on me while I was pregnant and had a baby with another woman. I found out after the other child was born. I have never been okay with this. It's exactly the kind of trash I tried so hard to have not be part of my life. If it was possible, I would have divorced him by now, but I'm stuck at a legal dead end and it's not possible. We have a legal and emotional separation agreement though. Since he travels a lot, and between the baby, my parents, and my career, I've been able to avoid thinking too much about it. Well, so I thought. It's been almost 2 years since then, and now he wants to bring that child into my house. I guess he has some kind of schedule with the other child's mother that includes visits and he wants that visitation to be in what is technically still his residence. Absolutely not. I'm not a stepmother to any child, and unlike in most of these situations, the house we're living in is truly only mine. It's under my parents' names, but I got it when I got POA and they had to go into a care home. I'm not having this kid in it. My husband and our families say that I need to deal with it because I am still married, that I need to accept my stepchild, and that I'm a witch for excluding a baby and preventing siblings from having a relationship. I don't agree. This child may technically be siblings to mine, but I don't need to play mom to this kid to make a relationship happen, and I don't want any of this trash coming into mine or my child's safe space. Am I crazy for not wanting this child here? Edit. Why can't you get divorced? Why is he still living there? In my state, to file for divorce, both parties need to have been separated for over a year and living in separate residences. Which requires one of us to move out. He doesn't want a divorce, so of course he won't move out. I can't make him because we're still married. In theory, I could move out and start the clock, but realistically I can't. With the POA, I can't just abandon the house. I couldn't afford to anyway, but if I did, he would be able to remain there. I would eventually get the house back, but in the meantime he could easily destroy it and then I'd have legal problems from that. To clarify on the separation agreement. Those don't technically exist in my state, but since we have it notarized, we could use it as an interim agreement on custody and the split on finances once that clock starts and especially post-filing. Edit 2. Adultery at fault. I could file based on adultery. I don't really want to go that route because it would turn the entire situation very hostile, very quickly, and I would still have to have him living here until we could get a court date, which could easily be months and months in the future anyway. I realize it already seems as hostile as possible right now, but day-to-day things are civil in a way that it wouldn't be if I did that. I'm also not confident that it wouldn't look bad because I would have waited 2 years after knowing about it to do anything. Not the asshole. This may not be a popular opinion since most on here say you have to be a perfect step-parent and accept all situations. But you are not at all the asshole. I was in a similar situation and still get pissed off 30 years later. Don't let people tell you what to do or how to feel. It is your house. Tell the father to go someplace else. Not the asshole. You don't need to call the kid trash, but your point is valid. You have no obligation to bond with your husband's affair child. You are legally separated and his obligation to his child has nothing to do with you. Just try to keep your anger directed at the adults in the situation. The child has no control over anything. Get a lawyer. A good one. He will bring his other child. You need a lawyer to evict him. A lot of people who share a residence go through divorce. It shouldn't be this hard without another way out. Get a lawyer and file for divorce and evict him. Not the asshole. Especially because you own the home. Your marriage would not still exist if you could help it, so that's an invalid reason. And he deserves not an ounce of kindness or help from you. Not the asshole. Not your child, not your responsibility. And furthermore, in my opinion, that would be emotionally cruel having you look after the child from his affair. Not the asshole. What the hell kind of world are your families living in? Am I the asshole for refusing to work with a makeup artist after she insisted I was racist? It sounds terrible. I, 29F, am white and with pale complexion. I have brain damage from a childhood injury and because of this words and even numbers are hard to place for me. Sentences are confusing sometimes and I mix words or am unable to remember the right word to use since my brain cannot connect two similar words easily. Bright, sunny, fast, I'm slow, kind of thing. My friend, 29F. Asian, went with me to get new makeup since I needed new foundation. She knows I have trouble with speaking, so she helps me when she catches me fumbling. Went to Sephora and saw 2 women that worked there, black, Asian. I asked if one could help me match skin tone since I was never good at it, and the Asian attendant said she would help me. As we started walking, my friend wandered away looking for something else. The artist asked me what I normally got, and I told her I needed a different color since I'm now white. She stopped rather quickly and asked me to repeat myself. I told her I needed a new color since I'm very white now and it doesn't match. She just looked at me dumbfounded, and I told her hold on, let me grab my friend. She told me, don't worry about it, I get it, you are white and entitled. I told her no, I just didn't know the right word, so hold on. I left her and looked for my friend who was over a couple of aisles and told her what happened. When we went back to the artist, the manager was with her. The manager told me I wasn't welcome if I was going to be neglecting her workers. I told her that's not what I meant and said I'm not good with words and didn't know the word I wanted. I asked my friend what the word for me being too white was. It was pale. Yes, pale, thank you. I'm too pale now, I need a new shade. My friend got annoyed and snapped at the worker, saying that she could have just waited like I asked and none of this would have happened. The artist, if your friend wasn't so entitled and racist, maybe she wouldn't need her Asian friend to translate for me. My turn to snap. I have brain damage, you ignorant shit. I turned to leave and the manager stopped us and apologized that it was a big misunderstanding. I told her yes it was, but it's not okay to label someone a racist just because they have a hard time speaking. From what I understand, the artist was made to apologize to me, but I still left. I understand it's hard to separate, but I think if someone tells you it's a misunderstanding and I don't know the word, to hold on, maybe there is a reason behind it. According to my friend, I got the artist in trouble and she was sent home after we left. Am I the asshole? Update. I called and spoke to hotline for comments and concerns, and they are going to talk to the manager and artist. I am going to make some cards like suggested stating I'm not good with words so people aren't confused as often. I don't think I was racist and I appreciate people talking to me instead of getting mad. Not the asshole. I'm pale as hell in the winter and I need to go 10+ shades darker in the summer. I have a mixed race heritage and it's a huge pain to try to color match. You were asking for a color match. Saying you're now more white isn't a racist thing. Your skin is literally whiter than the makeup you currently have. You're describing your own dang skin and the moi read into what you were saying and took it out of context. Would paler have been a bit more safe of a word? Probably. But you're in a makeup store where colors have meaning, especially when trying to describe what you need changed. Not the asshole. I'm not seeing how saying your skin is to white makes you white and entitled, even when you did mean to say pale. It seems to me the woman at the counter was overly sensitive and looking to cause an issue. Not the asshole. Also IDK, if this will ease your mind a little bit, but as a POC I don't think referring to yourself as very white was racist at all. I think even I would have been able to guess that you meant you got paler. That lady just managed to wildly misinterpret what you said and in bad faith emo. Not the asshole. I knew instantly you were trying to say pale. How the lady got anything racial out of that without seriously reaching is beyond me. NTA. And if you are interested, a shop called stickmancommunications.co.uk do infocards to help explain things like speech disabilities where your thoughts don't match your words. Not the asshole. Regardless of the brain damage situation, I really can't see what the problem is with saying you're too white. Sounds like the moi was just looking for an excuse to be angry at someone that day.